The 1998-99 season began with three intriguing managerial changes. Barnsley's Danny Wilson replaced Ron Atkinson at Sheffield Wednesday, Walter Smith took over at Everton after Howard Kendall resigned, and Liverpool made the bold decision to appoint Gerard Houllier as co-manager alongside Roy Evans. Newcastle also made a change in the dugout, bringing in former Chelsea boss Ruud Gullit as a replacement for Kenny Dalglish just 2 games into the season. On the pitch, Alan Kirbishley's newly promoted Charlton Athletic got off to a flying start in their first Premier League campaign. The Addicks held Newcastle and Arsenal to goalless draws in August, while Clive Mendonca scored a hat-trick in a 5-0 win over Southampton. The exciting games kept coming in September, most notably at Highbury, where champions Arsenal beat Manchester United 3-0 to lay down a marker in the title race. Another enthralling encounter saw Tor Andre Flo score twice as Gianluca Vialli's Chelsea came from behind to beat Blackburn 4-3 at Ewood Park. One of the season's most shocking incidents occurred at Hillsborough on September 26th. Arsenal defender Martin Keown grabbed Paolo Di Canio's shirt after a tussle between Patrick Vieira and Wim Jonk. The Sheffield Wednesday forward retaliated by pushing Keown in the face, prompting referee Paul Alcock to send both men off. Furious with the decision, Di Canio shoved Alcock in the chest. The official lost balance and stumbled backwards before comically falling over. Moments later, Nigel Winterburn berated Di Canio as he left the pitch. The feisty Italian raised his fist as though he was set to strike Winterburn in the face, causing the left-back to flinch. "I don't know what's gone through his mind," Sheffield Wednesday manager Danny Wilson told Sky Sports. Wednesday won the game 1-0, but Di Canio dominated the headlines. He received a £10,000 fine and an 11-match ban after the embarrassing incident. 2 months into the season, John Gregory's Aston Villa surprisingly topped the table despite the reluctant sale of star striker Dwight Yorke to Manchester United. Derby, Wimbledon and West Ham also made impressive starts, forcing the usual title favourites to play catch-up. In the bottom half, Middlesbrough, Charlton and Nottingham Forest adjusted to the top flight after promotion from Division 1. Forest were without top scorer Pierre van Hooijdonk, who sensationally went on strike due to broken promises from the club's board over transfer dealings. The managerial merry-go-round continued in October. In a controversial move, former Arsenal manager George Graham left Leeds to join the Gunners' North London rivals Tottenham after Christian Gross was sacked. Leeds wanted Martin O'Neill to replace Graham, but the Leicester boss opted to stay at Filbert Street. David O'Leary took temporary charge at Leeds before getting the job on a permanent basis. Elsewhere, Chelsea enjoyed a 21-match unbeaten league run between August and January to emerge as serious title contenders. The streak included a 1-1 draw with Liverpool, a game in which the club's £5.4 million signing from Lazio, Pierluigi Casiraghi, scored. A month later, Casiraghi's career came to a devastating end after he suffered a cruciate knee ligament injury in a 1-1 draw with West Ham. The Italian sustained the injury during a collision with West Ham goalkeeper Shaka Hislop. He was forced to retire after 10 operations and never played football again. Liverpool's star-studded forward line of Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen wreaked havoc throughout the season. The latter even scored 4 goals in a 5-1 win over Nottingham Forest. Ultimately, however, the Reds' experimental co-manager idea did not work. After a string of inconsistent results, including a 2-1 loss at home to Derby, Roy Evans resigned and left Gerard Houllier in sole charge. Further up the table, Aston Villa signed Dion Dublin from Coventry for £5.75 million. The new man made an instant impact, scoring 7 goals in 3 games. He also netted twice as Villa came from 2 goals down to beat Arsenal 3-2 in a thrilling encounter in December. Dion Dublin's goals ensured Aston Villa held on to top spot at Christmas ahead of Chelsea, Manchester United and surprise package Middlesbrough. Arsenal, in sixth, had a strong defence but needed to find form again going forward. In the relegation zone, Blackburn sacked Roy Hodgson and appointed Brian Kidd as his replacement. Southampton struggled once again, while bottom of the table Nottingham Forest welcomed Pierre van Hooijdonk back into the team after the Dutchman agreed to end his strike. In January, West Ham manager Harry Redknapp took a gamble on signing out-of-favour Sheffield Wednesday forward Paolo Di Canio for £1.5 million. "I made a mistake," said Di Canio, who did not play for Sheffield Wednesday again after his 11-match ban. "Now I'm here to play good football for my new club." Di Canio scored his first Hammers goal in a 2-0 win over Blackburn. On the goal-scoring front, Robbie Fowler netted a hat-trick in Liverpool's 7-1 win over Southampton, while Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke formed a powerful partnership up top for Manchester United. Both men were among the goals as Alex Ferguson's side thumped Leicester 6-2 away from home. They also scored twice each in a record 8-1 away win over Nottingham Forest. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer replaced Yorke in the 71st minute and scored 4 goals in a remarkable display. As Manchester United's season went from strength to strength, the same could not be said for Aston Villa. After Christmas, John Gregory's side only picked up 8 points from 12 games. The grim run of form included a 3-0 loss at home to Chelsea, who remained in the title shake-up for most of the campaign. By April, Aston Villa were a staggering 19 points behind league leaders Manchester United. Second-placed Arsenal were ready to pounce if the Red Devils slipped up, while Leeds made a solid start under new boss David O'Leary. Further down the table, Ruud Gullit struggled to make an impact at Newcastle. Everton found themselves in a relegation battle once again, and Charlton slipped into the drop zone. During the run-in, 3 successive draws saw Chelsea lose ground on Arsenal and Manchester United. The top 2 were neck and neck towards the end of the season, with only goals scored, separating them with 2 games remaining. In the final week of the season, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank scored as Arsenal's 19-game unbeaten league run ended with a 1-0 loss at Leeds. A day later, Manchester United's 0-0 draw at Blackburn meant the title race would go down to the final day. The draw at Ewood Park also confirmed Blackburn's relegation to the First Division. Brian Kidd's men looked set to escape the drop in March, but an 8-game winless run meant the 1994-95 champions lost their Premier League status. Nottingham Forest, managed by Ron Atkinson after Dave Bassett's sacking, were also relegated after losing 2-0 at Aston Villa. Everton moved away from relegation trouble after Kevin Campbell scored 9 goals in 5 games, including a hat-trick in a 6-0 win over West Ham. On the final day, Manchester United hosted Tottenham, knowing they had to better Arsenal's result against Aston Villa to clinch the title. The third and final relegation place would either go to Southampton or Charlton. As Southampton hosted Everton, Charlton knew only a win would do against Sheffield Wednesday to stand a chance of survival. In a chaotic afternoon, Marian Pahars put Southampton 1-0 up against Everton at the Dell, meaning Charlton needed a miracle to survive. In the same minute, dramatic scenes ensued at Old Trafford as Les Ferdinand scored for Tottenham against Manchester United. As half-time neared, David Beckham equalised to set up a tense second 45. In the second half, Andy Cole scored to put Manchester United ahead for the first time in the afternoon. Meanwhile, Arsenal took the lead against Aston Villa through Kanu, meaning one more Tottenham goal at Old Trafford could win the Gunners the league. In the relegation battle, Marian Pahars netted another for Southampton, and Danny Sonner scored for Sheffield Wednesday to send Charlton back to Division 1. As the minutes ticked down, Arsenal hoped for some help from their North London rivals. But it didn't arrive. Manchester United beat Tottenham 2-1 to regain the title from Arsene Wenger's side. The final 1998-99 league table confirmed Charlton, Blackburn and Nottingham Forest's relegation to the First Division. Newcastle, in 13th, had a disappointing season under Ruud Gullit. In the top half, West Ham, Derby and Middlesbrough exceeded expectations, while Christmas League leaders Aston Villa finished 6th. Manchester United, beaten to the previous year's title by Arsenal, clinched top spot in the Premier League for the 5th time in 7 seasons. In an unprecedented finale to the campaign, the Red Devils followed up their title success by beating Newcastle 2-0 in the FA Cup final to complete the league and cup double. But that wasn't all. Despite trailing 1-0 with minutes remaining, Manchester United defied all odds to beat Bayern Munich 2-1 in one of the greatest Champions League finals of all time. In doing so, they became the first team in English football to win the treble. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more classic football stories. You can also visit deefaxfootball.com for a range of retro gifts, including a 500-question Premier League quiz book and more than 60 nostalgic football canvases. Alternatively, click the link on screen to take another trip down football memory lane.